chest here in the opening segment. So normally I don't dive head first into it, but Denmark, there are some nights we simply have to. So every night here on Hacker After Dark, we give you a big deal of the night, and let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Florida Gator fans, deep breaths. Deep breaths. Goose fraba, as they say in the anger management movie with Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson. Cormani McClain, 5-star cornerback from Lakeland. It was not Alabama tonight. It was not Florida tonight. It was Miami, as he commits to the U about an hour and change ago. There are so many thoughts that I have on this. So I guess what I'll say is this. We are in a different age of recruiting than we were even 5 years ago. I don't believe, based on what I know, I don't believe that Billy Napier and the staff at the University of Florida, quote, lost Cormani McClain. I don't believe that. I think they did everything within their power to get him. But we live in an NIL world, ladies and gentlemen. And NIL rules all, even when it comes to recruiting. We remember Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher last year when A&M was getting anybody they wanted. Travis Hunter in December decommits from Florida State to go to Jackson State. Yeah. Why do you think that happened? Gator fans, you're not immune to this. You hadn't gotten kid out of IMG in forever in Bradenton. All of a sudden, Billy Napier comes in, and you're getting guys from IMG Academy. It happens all the time. Why is Cormani McClain going to Miami? I would strongly believe that it has NIL situations written all over it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's where we are in today's college football. Transfer portal, recruiting. Lane Kiffin said it himself. It is basically professional football. You have free agency, the transfer portal, and I would put recruiting in there as well. You have money left and right exchanging hands like nobody's business. Tip your cap to Mario Cristobal in Miami. And however they got McClain, they got him. And that's a huge deal for them. It's a big loss for Florida. There is no sugarcoating that. The one thing that I guess would put a little bit of ointment on the wound tonight for the Gators and their fans, assuming the class doesn't lose anybody from where they are now, they already had 6 defensive backs committed in this class. I believe 5 of those DBs were 4-star prospects, including Sharif Denson from right here at Bartram Trail in St. Johns County. You just got Dijon Mustard Johnson, as they call him, who was an Ohio State commitment. He just committed to Florida as well as a corner. So if you were to get punched in the gut in recruiting, this cycle, cornerback isn't necessarily a killer if the class stays intact, because Florida and Billy Napier already have 6 guys committed. 6 guys ranked, all I believe, in the top 350 of the 247.com composite. But I see Gator fans giving Billy Napier grief. I see Gator fans that are upset. It will eventually happen to everybody. It happened to Florida State in December when Travis Hunter, who was even committed to them, left them at the altar to go to Jackson State. Now, Cormani McClain was never committed to Florida. All indications were coming in that it certainly appeared to be Florida. And if not Florida, many thought Alabama. And Miami was thought to be a distant third behind the Gators and behind the Crimson Tide. And obviously that did not happen tonight. He's not going to Alabama. He's not going to Florida. He's going to Miami. It's not breaking the rules any longer. You know, how many years if you're a Gator fan or a Seminole fan or a Hurricane fan or a Bulldog fan, when you lost a recruit like this, you say, yeah, I wonder what that school paid him. Well, what do you think goes on right now? And we wanted this, right? Pay the players. Players deserve the money. Okay, and if you were one that said that, this is a result of that. Look, you won't believe the amount of stories I hear. When I covered recruiting for the last 5 years, I do more so local now than regional or certainly national than I did when I was with Gridiron a few years back. But you won't believe the amount of stories I've heard over the last 5 or 6 years. A lot of off-the-record conversations about things that go on. A lot of off-the-record conversations about what it takes guys to even take visits to schools. It is astonishing, the things that go on in the world of recruiting. Let your mind wander as far as you want, and odds are you're not wrong as to what you're thinking right now about what goes on behind the scenes in the world of college football recruiting. But tip your cap to the Canes, man. They got a good one. Florida, got to do what Florida State did in December. Pick yourself up off the mat. Finish the class strong. McClain doesn't come, that means you got another spot. Go find somebody else. That's the job of Billy Napier and his staff for the next 6 weeks. And keep the class intact. Florida just got some great news this past week. You want to talk about the ultimate roller coaster? Florida flipped Roderick Kearney from Orange Park. What, on Monday, right? One of Florida State's highest-ranked commitments said, nope, not going there any longer. I'm going to Florida. Wonder why that happened. So it happens to every team. And hey, to the victors go the spoils. Miami, good on you. Maybe now you won't allow 45 to Duke. You need all the help on defense you can get. By the way, Florida does as well. I kid because I care. But that's where we are tonight. Gator fans, again, I don't think you lost McClain. I think we live in a world of NIL. And it's what most of us wanted, right? Pay the players. Players deserve money. Well, okay. And with that, you now have situations like this all over the place when it comes to recruiting. We'll do a lot of Florida-Georgia talk tonight. We'll get the Gator side of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party with Tate Casey, former Gator tight end. He of the Tebow jump pass against LSU back in 2006. You hear him now on the Gator Radio Network as a sideline reporter. He'll join us coming up here in less than 10 minutes or so. We'll also get the Bulldog side of things. Verron Haynes. That's right, the hobnail boot. He caught the hobnail boot, 2001, Neyland Stadium. We'll talk to Verron Haynes about the Georgia Bulldogs, about Kirby Smart, and where this team stands going in to the cocktail party on Saturday. As far as the Jaguars and the Broncos, we're not going to forget about them. My man Leon Searcy, Everyday XL Primetime, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jaguars. He's coming up less than an hour from now. We'll also go out to Denver, Colorado. Is Nate Hackett really in trouble if they lose this game? Why has Denver started 2-5? And are the offensive and defensive players on the Broncos beginning to point some fingers in that locker room? A lot of rumors going on about Denver, the Jaguar opponent on Sunday. Kyle Newman of the Denver Post will join us in the 9 o'clock hour. The bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, my man Mike Huguenin, talking about the world of college football as well. So we have a ton to do. We are glad you are with us. Really quick on the Jaguars. The rumor I saw earlier today about Josh Allen. They're not going to trade Josh Allen, are they? Receiving calls? They might be receiving calls. I wonder how long those conversations are lasting. The only thing I'll say about Josh Allen, man, he's going to want a lot of money in the near future. Is he worth a lot of money in the near future? Josh Allen is just a guy right now that doesn't have that many quarterback sacks. How much of an impact has he really made in 7 games? He's done some nice things, but honestly, is he what you hoped he would be in year number 4? I don't know. Probably not. But I think when the rumors came out, I was thinking about this when it happened. You see Brian Burns of Carolina, there were reports out there that Carolina turned down 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. So if you're Jacksonville, and again, I think they're the ones getting the calls. That's the way the story sounded. It did not appear like they were shopping him. But if teams were willing to give up 2 firsts for Brian Burns, you at least wonder what the Jaguars could potentially get for Josh Allen. Again, they already picked up, I believe, his team option, right, for next year. So he's under contract through this year and next year at a minimum. I can't imagine a scenario where they trade him unless they just get an offer that completely and totally blows them away. But even then, I'd be a little surprised. I mean, he's how old's Josh Allen? 25? A 25-year-old pass rusher? But he doesn't have great sack numbers. There's no disputing that. He had a very good rookie year. What do you have, like 7.5 sacks last year? He's never really been a double-digit sack guy. I don't know what you could get for him. But again, if you're in a rebuild, I don't know why you would give away one of your best young defensive players. Jaguars-Broncos, Sunday in London. The game will be heard right here on 1010XL. 9:30 in the morning, 2:30 over there at Wembley Stadium in London. Again, we'll talk to Leon Searcy, get the Jaguar side of things. We'll go out to Denver, talk to Kyle Newman of the Denver Post, get the Broncos side of things coming up in just a little bit. But it is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Let's talk Florida. Let's talk Georgia. We will begin with the Gators. The orange and blue coming in at 22.5-point underdogs. My gracious. 22.5-point underdogs. Wow. Can they pull the shocker? I would tend to doubt it. But let's get the Gator side of things with Tate Casey. He's on the sideline of the Gator Radio Network. He won a national championship as a tight end for the University of Florida back in 2006, and he joins us next. Hacker After Dark on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, Florida, and we are glad you are with us.
When it's time to rewind what you just witnessed, Hacker and Leon Searcy bring you the window world of Northeast Florida 5th quarter.
Live from Perfect Rack Billiards in Murray Hill.
2 hours after the final whistle on game day. Brought to you by Eastern Roofing Company and Dr. George Bari and Bari Orthopedics.
Mia O'Brien here, and we know the best team always wins the game. Well, the same goes when it comes to local companies. Next time you need help with a plumbing or septic emergency or a planned project, just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They have the best team on the First Coast with over 50 players and will provide you with a winning solution. Go ahead, give them a call today. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, Director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $30,000 a year and right now graduate making over $80,000 a year including benefits. There is no tuition and no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted into the program, your only costs are the books and the course fees, around $700 a year.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here is nothing short of amazing. I'm talking real lasting relief for joint pain. Leon Searcy here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatment with advanced regenerative medicine. non-surgical alternatives. If you're living with joint pain from injuries or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroid, pain meds, and surgeries are the only options. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore damaged tissues. Maybe you've been diagnosed with bone-to-bone arthritis and been told that you need replacement. Call QC Kinetics now for any alternative way to deal with pain. These amazing protocols work with pain caused by injury as well, like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Don't keep living with that pain. Learn how regenerative medicine can give your life back with no drugs and no surgery. QC Kinetics in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Jacksonville safe for 80 years. I'm Carrie Kaufman, the EHS Operations Manager at the Safety Council. Join us December 15th at the Garden Club as we celebrate our anniversary and recognize our achievements in keeping our community safe and healthy. We provide safety services your organization needs to take the worry out of compliance. For more information, including how you can be a sponsor of our 80th celebration, visit nefsc.org.
Perfect Rack Billiards in Murray Hill is your spot to be for all your football needs. Full liquor bar, 8 pool tables, darts, and shuffleboard. Weekly specials every day of the week from 60-cent wings to seltzer Saturdays, along with wing and pitcher specials on Sunday, and tons of great draft choices daily. There isn't a better place to play pool, have a beer, and just kick back. Half-price apps from 9 to close weekdays. Perfect Rack Billiards on Edgewood and Murray Hill. The best place in Jacks to watch sports.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe. Because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound & Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundAndSecurity.com. Tyson Sound & Security, security and automation experts.
Brackish Vodka, part of the Brackish brands, is made right here in Jacksonville. 100% from corn and gluten-free. It's the local answer to Tito's. Brackish Vodka is the proud partner of Growlers Bar and Tailgaters, and we will be pouring free samples of our local vodka, as well as selling merch at each home game. Brackish brands are for those who live life slightly salty. And once you try Brackish Vodka, you'll be slightly salty too. You have never had a vodka this smooth. Enjoy Brackish Vodka for brunch at Ida Claire.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. It's getting chilly outside, but you can enjoy the outside inside with a new glass lanai from Lifetime Enclosures, or look ahead and get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. Give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you.
Which way's the wind blowing?
What do you guys have that none of the other teams have?
Find out on the Performance Painting Hurricane Report on 1010XL.
Now it's time to go out there and put it on the scoreboard.
Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve. This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-7473. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs, Saturday, 3:30. Of course, the game will be heard right here on 1010XL. That means you're going to hear Tate Casey right here on 1010XL, as he will be on the sideline on the Gator Radio Network. Tate joins us here on Hacker After Dark. Tate, how we doing?
Good, man. How are y'all?
Tate, we're good, buddy. Thank you for the time. All right. Another cocktail party on the horizon, although, man alive, does not feel like a normal cocktail party with the Gators coming in as over a 3-touchdown underdog.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those games, we all understand Florida's kind of in that rebuild phase right now under Billy Napier, but this is not one of those games, if you're a Florida fan, you can feel unbelievably comfortable about, unless you just hope that Florida plays up to their opponent.
We'll talk about the game and obviously the X's and the O's in a moment, but Tate, it's been about a month or so since we had you on. Thoughts to this point? Year one for Billy Napier. You're obviously on the sideline for every game. You're as close to it as anybody. How would you summarize the first 7 games of the year?
I think for us, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. I mean, in just terms of execution, because there's times where Florida has played really well. I mean, there's times where the execution's been spot on, and you've seen the product on the field be really, really good. And there's other times where, the inconsistency has taken over, and you've seen Florida, fall short in certain plays that have actually, really hurt their chances in a game. So for me, I think, and most Florida fans that have watched Florida play this year, you've seen some good, you've seen some bad, and obviously we've seen some ugly.
No question about that. And it's so interesting. I mean, the Utah game obviously was the good. I would even put the offensive performance against Tennessee in the good because, man alive, that was probably Anthony Richardson's best game. So I want to save the offense for a moment and focus on the defense. Tate, you know this, man. The Gator fans are restless. That was bad against LSU, that defensive effort. Why is the defense struggling the way they are, in your opinion?
Well, one, I think that you've got a number of young players, as far as the personnel. I mean, you can argue there's some very veteran and seasoned guys on that side of the ball, but at the same time, when you talk about the rotation that Billy Napier and his coaching staff is putting in, and even some of the starters that we've had over the last few weeks, you've seen as many as 7, 8 sophomores at times, and underclassmen on the defensive side of the football. And the hard part about the SEC when you're a young guy, it's trial by fire. The experience is what you've got to have in order to grow as a player. And unfortunately, right now, I don't think Florida's got very deep pockets on the defensive side of the football in regards to guys that you can just rotate in there. If somebody's missing assignments and execution miscues, I don't think it's as easy as just putting the next guy in. And so, unfortunately for Billy Napier, there's some growing pains there, I'm sure. And until he really starts to funnel in the recruiting side of things and get some guys turned and developed, it's going to continue to be something that's a week-by-week evaluation.
Former Gator tight end Tate Casey here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Tate, you played with some really good linebackers like Brandon Seiler and Earl Everett. Then you go to certainly a Brandon Spikes as well. Ventrell Miller is, as far as a tackler, a leader of the defense, he's certainly in that conversation. I just feel sort of bad for him, Tate, because as much as he's trying to will his defense to get going like he did on the sideline against LSU, they just did not respond. I mean, Ventrell's doing all he can, but my goodness, at some point he needs a little bit of help out there.
Well, I think that, and mind you, in hindsight, looking back on a playing career that I had, it was, like you mentioned, very fortunate enough to play around guys that really understood that games are won in the off season, and understand what we had in that locker room, what we were doing in January to win games in September, October, November, and being a run for, a championship push in December. Willing a win on the sideline is a very tough thing to accomplish, and as much as I obviously appreciate Ventrell Miller and his passion for the game and being a leader, I think for me, though, you look at it and I think it gives you more appreciation for the process. I don't think it was going to be easy coming into this season. I think Florida is kind of right on schedule where most Gator fans would say games won, or at least close to. I think you could probably have stole a LSU game, a Kentucky game, so maybe they're behind schedule for most people's projections. But, it's the SEC. Every week anything can happen. And we've seen that, over the course of the year so far. I just think for me, when you look at this game, Florida-Georgia, there's been plenty of times where Florida's been pegged to easily win this game, and it hasn't happened. And then you can flip that over and say Georgia's had plenty of opportunities where, on paper, they're definitely a better team, and Florida's found a way to win. And so this is one of those rival games. You can never discount the opponent. You can never discount what kind of year they're having. And it tends to be one of those games that, you never know what can take place. So if I'm Florida, I think the biggest thing for me coming into this matchup is, you've got to be completely disciplined and you've got to execute. No matter what, let the chips fall where they may. But if you don't come into this one full execution and amped up as all get out, I don't really know what more you need.
You would argue that Anthony Richardson's 3 best games this year were Utah, Tennessee, and LSU, probably their 3 biggest games of the year to date. So with that as a backdrop, Tate, I don't have any doubt in my mind that AR is going to come out there on Saturday and do some nice things. I think he's going to play well. Now, that might be relative because they're such an underdog in so many other aspects of the game. But are you confident in what we'll see from Anthony Richardson on Saturday?
100%. 100%. And I agree with you. I think when you look at the body of work with Utah, Tennessee, and LSU, arguably the 3 biggest games of his year so far, for a guy who hadn't had much experience coming into the season, as far as starting experience, being that field general that everybody's looking at and relying on to move the ball down, I think that in his best moments, if he can replicate that for a full game this game, Florida's going to have a chance. I honestly, personally believe that more of it falls on the defensive side of the football. Because when you look at Florida's offense, the biggest thing for them is turnovers, right? And there's been miscues, there's been, some bad throws, there's been some fumbles. And when their defense is getting turnovers, it's usually nullified by the offense giving the ball back as well. I think when you look at Florida, you've got 3 running backs in the stable that can push the ball 3 to 7 yards a carry if the offensive line is doing their job. Florida's offense is going to have to be on point. And it just, for me, I think Florida's defense is the bigger question on what kind of execution are you going to get out of that unit against a Georgia offense right now at second in the SEC and second in college football, and they're scoring offense up in the top 5 as well. It's one of those games that if Florida shows up and plays very sloppy a la Tennessee in the execution, it could be a long day.
Couple of more for Tate Casey. He's on the Gator sideline on the Gator Radio Network. He played tight end at the University of Florida. Speaking of that position, Tate, let's go to Athens. I'm sure you appreciate what Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington are doing at the tight end position there for the Dogs. They are unbelievable, and I'm not sure if Brock Bowers isn't one of the best players in the country with what he's been doing this year. Just your thoughts on those 2 guys and how you would even try to go about trying to stop them on Saturday.
One, I would say Brock Bowers is definitely in the conversation for top 5 players in the country right now, just from what he does in the sheer perspective of tight ends. He's arguably the best tight end in the country, with good argument. For what they do on offense, the way they run the ball, the way they mix in their tight ends, receivers, they've done a great job with him and Darnell Washington. I think that Florida has had troubles at times in the past 5 years with this Georgia game in particular, covering the tight end. I think it was 3 years ago, Dan Mullen had fits trying to find a way to cover tight ends in the Georgia game. So, I would expect to see a lot of run game. If I'm Kirby Smart, I'm going to pound on the run game to start this, and then just start working where I need to with the tight ends and the receivers off play action. I'm going to challenge Florida's defense. And listen, Florida's defense has the ability to be really, really good, at times. When they're playing, when they're flying around the football, they can be a very effective defense. My biggest challenge is going to be that front 7. And if I'm coaching Florida's defense this week, that's my challenge. My front 7 has to be on it like they've never been on it before with a bunch of young guys. Brenton Cox has to have the best game he's played in orange and blue. And I think Umami Ellen the same way, Ventrell Miller the same way. You've got so many guys on that front 7 that can be game changers, getting to the quarterback. I'd be looking at that Missouri film to see what exactly Missouri did best at kind of holding Stetson Bennett and this offense back. And I try and replicate everything I can to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback.
Tate, understanding the Saturday is what it is. They're a 3-touchdown underdog. After Saturday, you got games against, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Florida State. They have to find at least 2 more wins to become bowl eligible. Do you think that'll be a problem?
No, I don't. Personally, I don't. I think 2 out of those last 4, you got a good shot, and you can argue, obviously Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt. At times, I think that's one that gives us fits, but at the same time, we find a way to win that game. South Carolina right now is kind of in the same boat as Florida, very inconsistent at times, and it can be a tough one. But you've got 1 home game left with that, and then A&M's in a roller coaster of a season as well. So those last 4, we'll sort that as it comes. But I think right now, if you're Florida, you got to play week by week, and you've got a great opportunity to really play shocker this week against a really good Georgia team. And make no mistake about it, there's a lot of respect that goes into rival games at times when you know what's across the line of scrimmage from you. There's a handful of times that I had a chance to play against really good rival teams, and Georgia was one of them at times. You got to give credit where credit's due. And I think that's the first step. When you go into a game like this, you better not have any false pretenses about what's across the line of scrimmage. And Georgia right now, arguably as good as they've been in the last 3 years, and that's saying a lot. So if I'm Florida, I'm Anthony Richardson, this offense, you better find a way to impose your will up front in the trenches and make it a dirt game. And then on defense, man, you got to find a way to execute.
Worth reminding people that Kirby Smart in year number 1 in Athens went 8-5. And you see what he's done since year 1 to where they are now. Tate, final question for you regarding Billy Napier. Look, I don't know how much you follow recruiting, but they had a good week already. They flipped a 4-star from Florida State to Florida. They're probably going to get some really good news at the end of the week with a 5-star corner down in Lakeland. The bottom line is Billy is building this class. And what I like about Gator fans, and we don't see this very often, quite frankly, usually at 4-3, Gator fans would be irate with the coaching staff. I don't get that sense. Even with Patrick Toney on defense, certainly with Billy Napier, I think maybe for the first time in a while, Florida fans understand where this team is, and they're actually willing to give this staff some time.
Well, one, I think you've got to, right? As a person who's been around college football long enough, and not everybody's going to come in year 2 and win a national title, right? Those are unicorn-type coaches in a situation where there was talent on the field already when you walk in the locker room, and it's a matter of culture change. I think Billy Napier's transition right now, it's a little bit different than that. I think not only is it a culture change that needs to take place, I think that there's a lot of lag in regards to certain talent on the field at times, and especially the depth or lack thereof. He's got his hands full, but I do think that he is building it the right way. I think that the foundation has to be strong. No matter what, you've got to build it the right way, because 3 years from now, you don't want what happened, last year coming back to haunt you. And I think that's the key. And the recruiting is obviously a big part of his program, and it's evident. I think the fans are seeing that. They love the fact that he's pounding the pavement and going out and finding guys that are going to put them in contention 3-4 years down the road. I think for Billy, he's got the grit. He's got the chip on his shoulder that you want to see out of a head coach. And I'd be a little more concerned, obviously, if it was year 2 versus year 1. But given what we've seen on the field out of some of the older players at times, I think it's just going to be a matter of the right pitch to the right players coming out of high school to get them in Gainesville and on the field. And honestly, if I'm a high school guy watching Florida play right now, what else would you want but to see some of the mistakes that you've seen on the field? You look at it and go, man, Florida's got playing time. Like there's potential to play right away, and truly I believe there is. He's kind of in that same boat I'm sure Kirby was in year 1 in Athens, where you could pitch guys and tell them, listen, you're 4 or 5-star. I need a guy at this position next year. And you're going to be able to play right away. You're going to at least be getting playing time, and you're going to develop in, 3 years. Maybe you got a shot to go. 4 years, get a degree, and then you got a shot to go. But that's my pitch. If I'm coaching at Florida right now, you've got all the resources at your disposal. You've got a brand-new facility. You've got a very passionate fan base that wants to see a winner. And as a head coach, I know there's nobody out there that wants it more than Billy Napier, aside from the fan base. So I think you've got all the right things in place. hey, Billy's just got to have a little bit of time to make everything start rolling.
Tate Casey won a national championship at the University of Florida. You now hear him on the sidelines on the Gator Radio Network. Tate, appreciate the time, man. Know you're very busy this year. Have a great call on Saturday, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Appreciate it, guys. Thank y'all.
There you go, Tate Casey. You'll hear him right here on Saturday with the Florida-Georgia broadcast. Kickoff at 3:30 here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. I will tell you, week number 8 of the National Football League has kicked off. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Down in Tampa, Baltimore, a field goal on their opening drive. Tampa Bay has responded with a Leonard Fournette touchdown. Buccaneers lead 7-3 with about 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Coming up next, we've heard the Florida side. Now let's talk about the Georgia side. Verron Haynes, he of the hobnail boot at Neyland Stadium in 2001. That guy bleeds red and black of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll talk Kirby Smart, Georgia, and more with former Bulldog Verron Haynes. That's next here on Hacker After Dark.
It's not a game, it's the game.
And welcome to Jacksonville for Florida, Georgia.
The Florida-Georgia game.
It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Kickoff at 3:30 on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Exit is now United Real Estate Gallery. Same leadership, new name. Expect the same great services for buyers and sellers. How about this? 100% compensation plans available for real estate agents. You deserve more? Find your freedom with United. Exit is now United Real Estate Gallery. Pretty incredible. Join UnitedGallery.com to learn more about a career in real estate.
The Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is now offering online scheduling for new patient appointments for all of their physicians. Simply schedule your appointment on your cell phone, tablet, or desktop. JOI is the first orthopedic practice in North Florida to offer this feature to patients. To schedule your appointment online, visit joi.net and click on the button at the top of the page. If you'll be using insurance, be sure and have your information handy. JOI, where the pros go.
Join Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida for their Beaches Barbecue Bash November 3rd at ABBQ in Atlantic Beach for barbecue, beer, wine, cocktails, cornhole, live music, and a live auction. To impact our youth, go to bgcnf.org/events.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine. I'm Ellie Anajar. Together, we're Anajar and Levine. If you've been hurt in a car crash, we'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call Anajar and Levine for your free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. Main office, Jacksonville.
74.3% of those that own a home security system indicate that their security system and products make them feel safe. Because security cameras give you peace of mind. Denny Thompson here. Let Tyson Sound and Security assess your home security needs and keep the bad guys out so you can have full peace of mind too. While you're at it, ask them how they can help lower your home insurance payments. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound and Security, security and automation experts.
Jeff Prosser here. Do you have a damaged roof on your home? I did too. So I had Ken Lawler and his team help me get my roof replaced through my property insurance. Ken, tell us how it works.
Jeff, our team walks you through the process and eliminates the confusion that comes with filing an insurance claim and getting it properly settled. It's all free if we don't recover money for your claim. If you have a damaged roof, call Fifth Element Adjusting or visit FEAClaims.com. If you're happy with the outcome of your claim, Fifth Element Adjusting will not be able to help you. Ken Lawler, DFS number P213199.
Estate cleanouts, hoarding cleanouts, old appliances, and even tools. There are tons of reasons why you or someone you know may need expert help clearing space. J-Dog Junk Removal will responsibly help you free up space. That means when they leave your place, it looks better. Whether it's you or a loved one that needs one type of cleanout at your home, trust the veterans at J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned and operated. Call 844-GET-JDOG or visit JDog.com.
Upgrade your grilling game to amazing meals with a new high-quality grill from Caladad Grills. Why Caladad? It means quality. Expert grills that stand apart from the crowd, like Traeger, Kamado Joe, and Napoleon. In stock today and built to last. Why Caladad? It's a local family business, so they'll save you money and time with free delivery. Stop by Caladad Grills at the end of Cumberland Park Drive, just off County Road 210. Caladad, they make it easy for you to grill like a pro.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kids Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Hey, does your car still only play CDs? No Bluetooth? No CarPlay? You've got an old car, my friend. You know what's better than an old car? A less old car. Get a car or truck that's new to you with a great used car loan from 1-to-1 Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Get pre-approved for a loan and shop at any dealership in town. Get a low rate and get rid of that old car today. Apply online at 1to1fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
The holidays are a special time of the year, and helping others is a big part of it. This is Joe C., and our Toys for Tots golf tournament at the Golf Club of Southampton is always a great day, with plenty of people making sure the Marines have plenty of toys to put smiles on kids' faces when they need it most. So join us at Southampton Wednesday, December 7th for a primetime Christmas benefiting Toys for Tots. Or if you just want to help, drop off an unwrapped toy at 1010XL or Southampton, and we'll make sure it's under the tree for Christmas.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 27, 1984, Washington State University's running back Reuben Mays sets a collegiate football record of 357 rushing yards in one game.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line, brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. We are inside of 48 hours until Georgia and Florida. The Dogs come in a 3-touchdown plus favorite. They come in number 1 in the country. Could Florida pull the upset? I don't know. Georgia looks awfully good. Let's talk to a man that hoped that does not happen. He was a great player at the University of Georgia, went on to the National Football League as well, and, of course, he of the hobnail boot game back in 2001. Former Georgia fullback Verron Haynes here with us on 1010XL. Verron, how we doing?
I'm well. Good morning to you, and thanks for having me on, Ryan.
Hey, Verron, always appreciate the time, man. All right, so Georgia, Florida, in Jacksonville. Your memories of the game. There's even talk, Verron, that some Georgia folks hope this becomes home and home. From your perspective, what does the game mean here in Jacksonville from the Georgia side of things, and what's your thought on it remaining here in the city?
Well, let me just tell you, first of all, it's not a neutral site, right? Because it's played in Florida. Let's just get that out the way right away, right? So, but we welcome the old tradition of the longest and largest outdoor cocktail, the biggest outdoor cocktail party, if I said that right? Isn't that right, Ryan? Isn't that
the world's largest outdoor cocktail party?
There
Absolutely.
you go. And it lives up to every bit of the hype, man. I'm telling you, the both schools close school a little early to give the students an opportunity to get down there safely, and I think they, over the years, have done a remarkable job of just the safety factor of that aspect. But when you get down there, it's electric. Make no mistake about it. Every single centimeter of the landing and where you walk, there's either loyalists for Georgia or Florida, and it's being shown and worn all around that stadium. It's it's the only stadium, I believe, that has a jail in it too. Hence the reason why, because of the cocktail party, right? But yeah, man, it's a fun experience, man. I think that was one of the best times being a collegiate athlete was going down to that venue.
Veron, you talk about the Georgia Bulldogs this year, right? And even go back last year with the national championship. I mean, what Kirby Smart has done has been absolutely unbelievable. And I think it's so interesting this year that a defending champion like Georgia, undefeated here in late October, and yet amazingly they're kind of going under the radar a little bit. So many people are talking about Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, and here's Georgia just kind of doing their thing. I think Kirby probably likes it that way, though.
Absolutely. To your point, I think, being this team is different than last year, and they kind of need that kind of motivation probably in the locker room. So on one side of the ball, that's kind of good in a sense. The other side is it's parity. It's great for college football to have this kind of parity in it these days, and the dynasties, right? You got to earn everything, and what a better way for Georgia to say that they won the next championship than to go about it this way and earn it the right way, tough way.
Veron, as a former Dog, again, Veron Haynes here with us, when they had 15 players drafted, one of which right here in Jacksonville, and Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall, and then all the guys in the transfer portal, all the guys they lost to graduation, I mean, they lost a lot, right? Was there any concern from you that they might take a step back this year, or did you have that much confidence in Kirby Smart that would not happen?
Well, look, first and foremost, there's always concern when you lose. When 15 guys get drafted, and the bulk of it was the defense, right? And you always have a kind of appreciation for what you were able to build. But to Kirby's delight, right, and Georgia's fans' delight, he's been remarkable at and he's relentless at recruiting. And that shows, because now he has a plethora of guys that you see emerging, and it's just whoever is up next, and they're doing a sensational job of one guy go down and there's another one waiting in the wings. It kind of reminds me of where us getting over the hump for Alabama, because Alabama for years that's what they had. But remember who was over there recruiting? Kirby, right? So they had 3 guys deep that was 4 and 5 stars. But you look around and Georgia's got the same thing now, and it's and that's key to any success in this football in collegiate football or any football level at that matter.
Now, certainly next week is Veron Haynes week for the Dogs, because that's the hobnail boot against Tennessee.
Thank you. You're being gracious. Thank you.
Hey, man, you and David
I would say
Green.
It's more like Larry Munson.
Well,
right?
That's true, too. Yeah, but that call would not have happened had you not caught that pass there at Neyland Stadium. My question, Veron, is this, though, man, and you know that program. You know Kirby very well. Your son is one of the highly touted recruits in the country. We'll get to him in a moment. Is there any concern, and I can't even believe I'm asking you this, because of that Tennessee game a week from Saturday, any concern among Georgia fans that they might be looking over the cocktail party more so than they usually do?
Absolutely not, and that's because of the years that Kirby has underneath his belt, right? He's been with Nick, and mind you too, Kirby's grown up in a household that his dad was a head coach for many years, so he understands the magnitude of the game. He understands that you have to focus and get everyone on the same page to play this week's game, or else if you overlook this team, you will get beat. Make no mistake about it. It's a SEC team. Sure, they're struggling a little bit, but every game that they've been in, the big games, Florida I'm talking about right now, they had a chance. So the ball could bounce both ways. But Kirby understands, being a veteran coach now, that he has to get his team prepared. One of the marquee things that he said that I was delighted to hear after one of the big victories was, we got to get better. I mean, here it is. You scored 40-something plus points, and his first things out of his mouth is, We did some. He was highlighting the stuff that we could have done better, and we're going to make the corrections and go back to work.
Verron Haynes here with us, final moments with the former Georgia Bulldog. Verron, I'm curious, because of your son Justice, what a 4-star running back, everybody in the country wants him. He's currently committed to Alabama as of right now. Obviously, I would think you've had some interaction with the Gator staff, and I'm just curious your thoughts on Billy Napier. As a former Georgia Bulldog, you see what Napier's doing in Gainesville. What's your thought on him moving forward?
Hey, Ryan, before we move any further, I have to highlight the fact that, he's a consensus 5-star now. So we got to, he has a 247 consensus of all the four things that scouting departments that rate you, that he's a 5-star. So I got to highlight, because his work is unparalleled. He has a relentless work ethic, and I think that's going to speak volume. But I got to give him his just due, because he's earned that. Now, the question at hand that you asked me is Billy Napier. Getting back to Billy. Billy and I had a brief conversation when I got down there, and I could see that this program, he's doing a great job of this program. Where I see Florida lacking is where they were in the great Florida days, which is the winning the battle up front in the trenches on both sides of the ball. When he's able to capture that in the SEC, you need that, right? Because you got to be able to run the ball and impose your will, or else it's eat or be eaten. And once Billy's gets that, he's done a great job his first couple years there, and got some guys in, some good skill position, solid guys, right? But I think the future for Florida is going to be getting back in the trenches and getting those big hogs.
No question about it. They're certainly working on that. Got some good defensive line commitments, a couple of O-line commitments as well, as Billy Napier tries to build the Gators back up. Final moments here with Verron Haynes. Let's go back to your son, 5-star running back, one of the best running backs in the nation, committed to Alabama. You played in the SEC at the fullback position. Now your son is so highly touted. As a father, Verron, that must make you just smile ear to ear.
It is, man. It's a delight, man. I get to the games. I tell, one of the interviewers on ESPN had asked Coach App at Buford, how involved is he? He said he's not. He's just a dad enjoying his son. And, I get to the games 3 hours early, and I sit in my little section, and I get to see him warm up. Right. He calls me, or we go down and we say a prayer with each other before the game. I give him a couple of little reminders and tips, and it's fun to watch every Friday and take that in, man. I'm enjoying every moment of it. And the key component to Justice, which I will share with you, at 12 years old, everyone who's listening and these parents that, are heavily involved in their kids. And that's great. That's great. But what you need to also make sure is that it's your kids' why, right? Not yours. Some people like to live vicariously through their kids. And I'll tell you, one of the proudest things that I've had to understand as a father is having figured out that it needs to be the kids' why. And, at 12 years old, I took my hands off and I made it about him, right? It's whatever you want to put in, I'll give it to you. So I used to make him work out and stuff like that when I played in the league. And then, at 12 years old, I go to him and I say, hey, I'll give you all the tools and intangibles that you need and equip you with anything that you ask. But one thing I ask of you is you got to come to me. I'm not going to make you do anything. So, first week go by, Ryan, and, he's up there playing Xbox, and I go by his room and I said, hey, did you work out this week? He goes, Dad, hold on. And I said, no, go back in your room. If you think about it tomorrow, come find me. I'll be downstairs. I'll put you through a workout. I'll give you everything. So, he came the next day, and this happens for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, right? But throughout this time, I'm not making him do anything, right? I'm just simply subtle gestures and reminders. That's it. And then he got it. He comes down and he's committed. And first thing I said to him, I said, Justice, I said, 3 things happen the higher you go in sports: politics, injuries, and you flat might get beat out. So it's got to be your why that keeps you coming back. So everybody that, is involved in the kids, make sure they understand their why. Because I had nothing. That was my why. I wanted more. Well, these kids right now, we equip them with everything, right? They got trainers, they got all these sneakers. He gets hungry, he orders Uber Eats. I didn't have Uber Eats. I couldn't afford Uber Eats, right, Brian? So it's different. So if you understand that as a parent and make it about them, let them find their way, and don't bail, but you got to let them fail. You got to let them fail. Go through it when you're there so that you could kind of put some wisdom into that and guidance into them.
Verron Haynes, former fullback for the Georgia Bulldogs. He of the hobnail boot up at Neyland Stadium back in 2001. Verron, thank you for the time, man. Best of luck to the Dogs moving forward, and as they continue to move forward, if they have that meeting with Alabama later in the year, we'll hopefully get you back on and preview the game at that point. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. You have a great day, Ryan.
Jeff Lageman tackles the tape every Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Bam, you get hit with something you haven't seen, you haven't prepared for, and it's a big play.
Brought to you by Famous Automotive Tire and Quick Lube, treating every customer like they're famous.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here is nothing short of amazing. I'm talking real lasting relief for joint pain. Leon Searcy here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatment with advanced regenerative medicine, non-surgical alternatives. If you're living with joint pain from injuries or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroid, pain meds, and surgeries are the only options. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore damaged tissues. Maybe you've been diagnosed with bone and arthritis and been told that you need a replacement. Call QC Kinetics now for any alternative way to deal with pain. These amazing protocols work with pain caused by injury as well, like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. Don't keep living with that pain. Learn how regenerative medicine can give your life back with no drugs and no surgery. QC Kinetics in Mandarin and Ponte Vedra, 904-274-5522. That's QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
Hacker here for my friends at Xfinity. Well, get the speed you need at a great price. It's also the fastest internet on the largest gig speed network. Speaking of gig speed, Xfinity gig speed internet is available to 99% of their footprint. You can also enjoy all your favorite apps. They're all in one place. That's with the Flex 4K streaming box that's free with your Xfinity internet. You can stay connected on the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide, and Xfinity's internet service brings your entire experience together by connecting other services like xFi, Advanced Security, Xfinity Flex, and more. This is based on Xfinity's fastest available download speeds, not available in all areas. Performance may be limited by customers' device configuration. Go to Xfinity.com. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit an Xfinity store today. Jacksonville, do what I did. Get hooked up with the good folks of Xfinity.
Waste Management is paying a $5,000 bonus to CDL drivers and heavy truck mechanics for jobs in Jacksonville, Green Cove Springs, Callahan, and St. Augustine. Apply online at WM.com/careers.
Equal opportunity employer.
Rumors of Fleetwood Mac. Performing the legendary Rumors album in its entirety, note for note. October 20th, 2022 at Florida Theater. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com or the box office. Rumors of Fleetwood Mac. Call 355-ARTS.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie, and I want to thank Coach Ellen and the team at Darley's for providing all the plumbing work for a brand new walk-off charities building that's being built. Being a San Souci guy, I've known the team at Darley's for years. They're a company I trust for my plumbing needs, and you can too.
Thanks for those kind words, Frank. At Darley's Plumbing, we don't just do residential house calls. We're your first draft pick for commercial business plumbing too. Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here for hashtag Save the Headlights with Tire Outlet during Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All October, Tire Outlet will be raising funds for local nonprofit Pink Ribbon Jacks. Give today by visiting in-store or by purchasing Tire Outlet's special offers at TireOutlet.com.
Wholesale prices, premium service, Tire Outlet.
Hey, Hicken here for Zero Res. October is birthday month for Zero Res. Been 18 years since Zero Res has been in business. Holy cow, do they deserve something nice. To celebrate, just say, Happy Birthday Zero Res, and they'll give you up to $75 off your cleaning. That's right, $75 off carpet cleaning, tile and grout, upholstery, area rugs, or granite countertops. That's their birthday gift to you. Some minimums may apply, so give them a call. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
This is Brandon with North Florida Epoxy Floors. Our product gives you a custom high-quality appearance and the longest-lasting finish at a more affordable price. So for your garage, home, or business, research the difference between 100% solids epoxy and the products like polyurea, which can be kinda fishy. Our epoxy includes a moisture vapor barrier, essential in Florida, so your North Florida epoxy floor looks great and is warranted with no fine print. Get a free estimate at northfloridaepoxyfloors.com.
How wide is the moon? The answer coming right up.
It's always a good idea to compare homeowners' insurance rates instead of renewing year in and year out. Log on to southernoak.com and get an instant quote in minutes.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The moon is roughly 2,100 miles wide, about a 3-day drive.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Don't bring those old, beat-up cornhole boards to the party again. Mystic Cornhole can upgrade your tailgate experience with a customized set of professional quality boards built in jacks. Visit their Instagram page or mysticcornholecompany.com.
It's football season, and nothing tastes better on game day than Hoffman's Upstate New York German Franks, Snappy Grillers, all beef dogs, and a variety of handheld, handcrafted sausages just waiting for that tailgate. Whether you're in the stadium, the parking lot, or in the best seat in the house in front of your TV, pick up Hoffman at area stores, or order online and have our ridiculously tasty products shipped. Now you can spike the ball. Taste tells. HoffmanSausage.com.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Now, another interview on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Broncos, Sunday, Wembley Stadium, 2:30 London time, 9:30 in the morning here in Jacksonville, as both the Jaguars and the Broncos in desperate need of wins, both coming in on 4-game losing streaks. Let's talk to my man Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on XL Primetime, and you also hear him with me right here weekly on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how we doing?
We're doing pretty good, Hack. Pretty good.
All right, Leon, 4 losses in a row, each by 8 points or less. You combine Washington, all 5 of the Jaguar losses by 8 points or less. In that locker room right now, is there still optimism or is there unbelievable frustration?
Oh, well, you know what, Hack, it's got to be a little bit of both, to be quite honest with you. There's got to be a lot of frustration because the mass majority of the trouble is self-inflicting. Jaguars, just too many penalties, too many unnecessary roughness, stuff that you can't afford to have at crucial parts of the game that keeps drives going for teams to score points on you. You can't do that. The Jaguars have done that the last 3 weeks. And therein lies the frustration. The optimism is that the fact that you've been in games. You've gone into the fourth quarters with the lead on the vast majority of the time. You just got to figure out a way to finish. You got to figure out a way to quit costing yourself games. There's nothing that teams have done to you that you haven't been able to overcome. But in that fourth quarter, you got to figure out a way to quit allowing yourself to do stupid things that cost you football games, because winning in the NFL is few and far-fetched, and it's not easy to win this league. And the Jaguars, they're going to look at the end of the season, whatever their record is at the end of the season, they're going to be watching the playoffs, and they're going to say to themselves, you know what? Those 2 or 3 or 4 games kept us out of the playoff situation.
Leon, the fact that they've been in that situation 5 times in the game, in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, every time, and have lost every time, is there a worry to you as a former player that maybe that start mentally creeping in with them if they're in another late game situation in London on Sunday?
Well, you would hope not, Hack. You would hope not they're not on the sideline saying, here we go again. You would hope somebody on that sideline is before the game, before you even get to the game, there needs to be somebody within the practice, within practice that week and says, listen, there's enough, you got to draw your line. You got to draw the line in the sand somewhere, and enough is enough. Hopefully there's enough leadership within that locker room where these guys are saying, listen, we're not going to tolerate this losing in the fourth quarter anyway. And you've got to be able to conceptualize what are we doing wrong that's costing us games at pivotal points in the game. And you've got to make those corrections. But you can't make the corrections on Sunday. It's got to be a point of emphasis during the week. And someone has to, if players need to be called out, then so be it. If there's guys that are making stupid, dumb mistakes at crucial moments in the fourth quarter that's costing us games, you need to bring it to the attention of that player and say enough is enough. Let's go out here and win us a football game, and let's us not be the reason why we don't.
Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, your reaction earlier this week to the trading of running back James Robinson?
I thought it was unnecessary, to be quite honest with you. Did you get better by trading him? Absolutely not. James Robinson was a viable component on this team. He was a 1-2 punch for Travis Etienne. He had a 100-yard rushing game, I believe he did during this season. I don't see the point in which it was necessary to trade him because, quite frankly, you don't know if Etienne is going to be able to sustain the amount of carries that's going to be incumbent upon him to have during the game, and then you're going to. I mean, you're trying to tell me that you got Hasty to rely on. I mean, you've got Snoop Connor to rely on, outside of a guy who's giving you 2,100 yards and over 18 touchdowns as a runner. Doesn't make any sense to me. There's got to be more to it than this story of getting rid of him. And don't tell me that. I mean, the Jets needed a running back during the same time we were playing the game. So while James Robinson was on the sideline and the Jets running back blows out his ACL, I mean, you can't tell me, Jacksonville, that you were saving him for that because you had no idea at that particular moment where both games were simultaneously playing. There's got to be a reason why he only got one touch during that game. There's more to this story than meets the eye. I just think that the NFL is not fair. It is a guy who battled back, from Achilles tear to get back on this team and try to contribute the best he could was basically thrown away for a 6th-round pick. A 6th-round pick that we can't even utilize right now. And if you ask me, did this team get stronger or weaker by getting rid of James Robinson? It got weaker. In my assessment, it got weaker.
I totally agree. Trades are supposed to help you, and I don't see for the life of me how this helps the Jaguars right now. A couple of more for former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. All right, Leon, a couple of final thoughts. Number one, what's really unfortunate about this losing streak is it takes away from the play of Trevor Lawrence. Now, has he been great? No, I won't go that far, but I think he was very good in Indianapolis. I think he was pretty good against the Giants. Ultimately, we're not talking at all about that because of the losses, but I got to tell you, his fourth quarter performances in both games are exactly what we've wanted to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been efficient with the football, and what I mean by that, he's finding the open receivers a lot quicker than he did early on in the season, or the first game of the season. He's going through his progressions a lot quicker. Has a lot to do with our wide receivers absolutely getting open, getting their ability to get separation over their defender. But he's finding those guys, and he's making crucial throws at crucial times during the game, which we saw none of that early on last year or throughout last year at all. Last year was a wash, in my opinion. I think this kid is moving along efficiently. I think offensive line and their ability to run the ball has helped him, and he's piggybacking off of that. I think our wide receivers are getting open. Not only my only concern with Trevor Lawrence is because as this schedule manifests before our eyes, he's going to play tougher opponents, and they're going to realize that his long ball he struggles with the long ball, and he struggles with touch passes. And what a lot of teams are going to do is they're going to start playing the middle of the field, and they're going to start pressing these wide receivers a lot more and going to force him to throw the deep ball, which he hasn't thrown well throughout the whole season. So he's got to understand that a lot of these teams have got film on him now, and they see the success that he's having. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm looking at the film and say, okay, this kid throws short to intermediate passes, but he struggles with the long ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the coverage and force him to go deep where we know he struggles with. So he's got to improve on that for the future moving forward as he gets into the heartbeat of his schedule, where he's going to be playing the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Cowboys and the Titans and teams like that. So. But overall, I think Trevor is having a pretty good season.
Leon, final thoughts from you. When we go to London on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, here's my concern about it, all right? You look and see the situation on Sunday with Jacksonville, with Denver, and London, and I got to tell you, Trevor Lawrence is one thing, but the Denver Broncos situation is something completely different. They expected to be good this year, and they're not. They're 2-5. They're talking about Nate Hackett maybe being one and done out there in Mile High. And I was talking to some Denver guys this week and getting ready for this game, and you have talked about this in the past. The defense out there is very good. The offense out there has been terrible, and there are starting to be concerns in that locker room that the defensive guys are getting fed up. They're playing their tails off, and they keep losing games because the offense isn't scoring any points.
Yeah, that's very concerning. When the defense is playing well enough to win ball games and the offense has been inefficient, it starts with Russell Wilson. I mean, you spent $250 million to bring this guy in. His game has been off, even before the injury. His game has been off. He's been holding on the ball too long. He has been making a lot of those deep throws that he's used to make early on in his career. I just think he's a shell of himself. And the offensive line hasn't protected, hasn't run the ball well. And when your defense keeps you in games and you still come up short, there can be some malcontent in that locker room. I've been in locker rooms like that. Not throughout the whole season, but I've been in situations where there's been malcontent between the offense and the defense getting it done and the offense sputtering. And there's some choice words. There's some things that are said. There might be some fisticuffs every here and there, but that's what happens when you're in a locker room full of alpha males who are trying to win football games. So I mean, yeah, the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos offense struggling might give us an opportunity to kind of resurface our defense. our defense has struggled a bit, hasn't been as effective as it was the earlier part of the season, getting after quarterback, getting turnovers, making stops, 3 and outs and all that kind of stuff. So if this defense is struggling, their offense is struggling a little bit, might give us our defense a chance to wake up. And then our offense is going to be challenged because their defense gets after the quarterback pretty good. It's going to put a lot of pressure on our offensive line to protect Trevor, to be patient, not to turn the ball over, being able to run the ball effectively, take your shots when you can. So it's going to be, it's going to be a tit for tat, and we're going to see, at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday, what teams comes out as the victor.
Two teams both in desperate need of a win, no question about that. Leon, who wins the game on Sunday?
I'm going to go Jaguars again. I'm going to go Jaguars. I'm just throwing the London effect out there. All right, I'm going to go 23-20 Jaguars.
They need it. There's no question about it. I want to go Jaguars, but, man, I've been burned the last couple of weeks. I'm still going back and forth. I think at the end of the day, I'll pick Jacksonville, but I just need a W, Lee. I think the whole city just needs a W at this point. Win or lose, you and I will have the fifth quarter on Sunday. An early start for us on the fifth quarter. We should be on roughly about 2:30 or so Sunday afternoon, 2 hours after the Jaguars and the Broncos go final. Leon Searcy, you get him on XL Primetime, and you get him right here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, thank you, brother. I'll see you on Sunday.
All right, see you there.
Attention car buyers, you in the market for a new vehicle? Are you noticing the markup on vehicles on dealers' lots? Well, not the case at Key Buick GMC. We never have markups on our vehicles. Come in today and ask for Derek or Steve. As always, the lifetime powertrain warranty in effect whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade on the corner of Southside and Gate, or visit our website, keybuickgmc.com.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
The IRS has just received $80 billion in funding to hire 86,000 IRS agents. If you owe the IRS, now is the time to take action before the IRS comes after you or your business. There's no time to waste. Call J. David Tax Law for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777. Or visit jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or consolidate other debt or even start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto at 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. You could use that extra cash for the holidays, and you can get it with Loan Pronto. Also visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Jacksonville safe for 80 years. I'm Carrie Kaufman, the EHS Operations Manager at the Safety Council. Join us December 15th at the Garden Club as we celebrate our anniversary and recognize our achievements in keeping our community safe and healthy. We provide safety services your organization needs to take the worry out of compliance. For more information, including how you can be a sponsor of our 80th celebration, visit nefsc.org.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom! You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Danny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Widespread adoption of home automation technology has made connectivity an affordable, expected standard in new home construction. But whether your home is new or not, you can have the same smart technology. Save energy by turning lights out remotely. How about the convenience of a home theater with one button or walking in your door with automatic lights? Use Tyson Sound and Security. Visit TysonSoundandSecurity.com. Tyson Sound and Security, security and automation experts.
Brackish Vodka, part of the Brackish brands, is made right here in Jacksonville. 100% from corn and gluten-free. It's the local answer to Tito's. Brackish Vodka is the proud partner of Growlers Bar at Tailgaters, and we will be pouring free samples of our local vodka, as well as selling merch at each home game. Brackish brands are for those who live life slightly salty. And once you try Brackish Vodka, you'll be slightly salty too. You've never had vodka this smooth. Buy Brackish at any Shores Liquor. See you on game day.
What is the world's largest freshwater lake? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Lake Superior has enough water to cover North and South America combined. It is the world's largest freshwater lake.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 27, 1984, Washington State University's running back Reuben Mays sets a collegiate football record of 357 rushing yards in one game.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Now,
hello.
Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the Accident Attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Broncos, Sunday, 9:30 a.m. on the East Coast. Of course, it'll be 2:30 at Wembley Stadium in London. You'll get the game right here on 1010XL. Let's go to Denver, Colorado. Let's get the Broncos side of this matchup. Kyle Newman of the Denver Post, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Kyle, how we doing?
Hey, doing great, Ryan. Even though it's panic level red out here in Broncos country as the Broncos get ready to face the Jaguars this weekend in London.
It's panic level here. Now the expectations were a little bit different out there, certainly. Kyle, let's start with just a broad overview. What has gone wrong for the Broncos and for Nathaniel Hackett 7 games into the year?
Well, Ryan, you mentioned expectations, and I think they were too high. I mean, internally, externally, Denver media, national media, through the first 7 games here, Broncos sitting at 2-5. The easy part of their schedule, the soft part of their schedule, pretty much they've blown that margin. And that, of course, includes this game on Sunday against the Jaguars. But Broncos underdogs in that game. And that's because, we've just seen the wheels fall off consistently in these games. Yes, the Denver defense is elite. They've been playing up to their pay grade, plus a little more. But the offense has been a total bomb. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett's game management has come under scrutiny from the very first game when he elected to try a 64-yard field goal to try and beat the Seahawks rather than convert a 4th and 5, keep the drive going. It's come up repeatedly since then. The offense has been out of rhythm. First couple of weeks, they were even struggling to get in and out of the huddle, get the play call in. And then Russ has not been Russ. I mean, right now it's looking like a gamble that's not going to pay off in terms of trading for him, but not only trading for him, giving him a 5-year, $200 million plus extension when he hadn't even played it down yet for the Broncos. Is Russell Wilson a quarterback who's fallen off as the Seahawks believed? So far, it's looking that way. Now, obviously, he's got some time to right the ship, but he's been dealing with injuries, and the Broncos have been dealing with a ton of injuries too, leading the NFL. 6 starters, I believe, at this point on injured reserve, and that includes season-ending injuries to important pieces like Ronald Darby in the secondary, Javonte Williams in the backfield, Garrett Bowles at left tackle. So everything that has gone wrong or could go wrong has gone wrong here in Denver so far through the first 7 weeks, besides the defense, which has played, like I said, just about lights out, besides a few hiccups here and there.
Kyle Newman of the Denver Post. Kyle, anybody that follows football or covers football knows that in a situation like that, there could be some issues in the locker room that develop. Is there any issue that the defense is playing out of their minds, but the offense is giving them no help?
That's a great question. They're not saying it so far officially, but you can tell there's starting to be some frustration. After the past couple overtime losses to the Colts and the Chargers before that, the defense just kind of being like, hey, what else can we do? And Bradley Chubb, he's speaking of playing above your pay grade, he's having a monster year in a contract season, very critical season for him. And all of a sudden the defense is playing so well, the offense is sputtering. The record shows that. And all of a sudden he's on the trade block, reportedly. So I'll be interested to see what happens here in these next couple weeks leading into the November 1st trade deadline, because you're right. This is a locker room where half the guys are playing very well. The other half are wondering what their identity is and how they meet expectations that were placed on them. And I'm going to be interested to see here, Ryan, going forward, especially if they lose this game on Sunday in London to the Jags, if this locker room can stay together, and how hot the seat is going to get under Nathaniel Hackett, because he's not just underperforming. I mean, he's bombing so far. And the fans at Empower Field, every single home game, there's been a chorus of boos, multitude choruses of boos, and that's not a good sign for the first-year head coach.
Kyle Newman of the Denver Post here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. All right, Russell Wilson, you mentioned him. Now, it's early in the week, right? We're still a few days away from kickoff, certainly. Do we know his status? He missed last Sunday. There was talk that Nate Hackett, I guess, told Adam Schefter that he's trending towards playing. Do we know any more about his status for Sunday, Kyle?
Yeah, so we talked to Hackett yesterday via Zoom, and he said that they're going to reassess Russell on Wednesday in London, so tomorrow, and just kind of see where he's at. Like you said, Hackett said he's trending towards playing. Now, I'm going to guess that if he's kind of close, Russell's going to say, hey, put me in, and Hackett's going to oblige. With this 2-5 start, he's going to want his guy out there. Now, granted, Russ, from what we saw in practice last week, Ryan, he was so limited. He couldn't be doing the rollouts or the sprint outs. You could tell that hamstring was really bothering him. So I'm not sure if the severity of that is maybe a little more than they're letting on. But come Sunday, I bet that Russ is in the starting lineup. Maybe, I don't know if we'll make it through the game, but Brett Rippon will certainly be ready. We saw Rippon get his shot last week and kind of lay a dud in his second career start against the Jets, just 9 points. So, the only way to go is up from here for the Broncos offense. Last in the NFL in points per game, under 15 points per game. So they got to get it figured out. And I think Nate Hackett and Russell Wilson, even with the Broncos bye week coming up after this, which, they could rest Russell for a couple weeks theoretically, but this win is very important. They know that. And I think they'd rather play a slightly dinged up Russell than roll Rippon out there again.
And just looking at it from a far away view, like we are here in Jacksonville, we see Jerry Jeudy, we see Courtland Sutton. They have talent at the skill positions. You mentioned Javonte Williams. He's out for the year, but you still got a Melvin Gordon. You go out and get a Latavius Murray. They look like they have guys, Kyle. What has been the issue, not only with Hackett, but certainly with the play of Russell Wilson?
Yeah, can't put it all on Russ, right? So first of all, it's Hackett, the play calling, just the chemistry of the offense, and then the playmakers who were highly touted coming into the season were expected to bring this, offense back into at least not being boring. They've really underperformed. Jerry Jeudy had a big first game, got injured, has been kind of quiet since. He had his biggest game in a couple weeks last week with Brett Rippon throwing the ball. Courtland Sutton, he's been a reliable target, but it's not like he's catching a ton of downfield routes. KJ Hamler has been almost invisible. We were thinking he'd be in for a breakout season coming off the hip and knee injuries in week 3 of last year that he had to battle back from, but they're just not really targeting him a whole lot. And then you go to tight end, and Albert O has been effectively benched and replaced by rookie tight end Greg Dulcich, who started the year on IR with a hamstring injury. He's come back. He had a touchdown in his first game a couple weeks ago, and I wouldn't be surprised if Alberto is inactive again on Sunday in London for the third straight week. So, I mean, they got to get more out of those wideouts, tight ends. And then you mentioned in the backfield, losing Javonte Williams, season-ending ACL injury, huge blow. They don't trust Melvin Gordon. The coaching staff does not trust Melvin Gordon because of his fumble issues. Latavius Murray, he's a nice veteran signing, but he's an old veteran with a lot of tread on the tires. And then Mike Boone, their number 3 running back coming into the season, and number 2, when Javonte went down, he's now injured. He won't be making the trip to London. So all that swirling in. Oh, and instability on the offensive line. Left tackle Garrett Bowles, as I mentioned, done for the year with a broken leg. Right tackle has been a circus. They've had right guard Quinn Miners injured a bunch this year, but he's healthy again. So they got to get some stability up front because they haven't really been able to establish that run and then also give Russ a lot of time in the pocket. Now, counter argument to that, Russ has been scrambling too much, but, the Seahawks folks can tell you all about that. So we'll see kind of where he lands on Sunday, especially if he's nursing that hamstring.
Yeah, I'm sure Latavius Murray will be fun to talk to this week. It's his second time in London in like a month because he was over there with the Saints before the Broncos picked him up. So I'm not sure if he's going to enjoy another trip to London. We'll see, although if memory serves, Murray had a pretty good game over there for New Orleans. Couple of more for Kyle Newman of the Denver Post. You can follow him on Twitter at Kyle Newman DP. Okay, so you mentioned Nathaniel Hackett. We're obviously familiar with him from his time here in Jacksonville back in 2017, the AFC Championship run with Blake Bortles. We had a one-and-done last year in Urban Meyer. Now, that was a disaster. Could it really be one-and-done for Nate Hackett? I mean, he was a valuable commodity on the coaching carousel. Is he in any realistic danger, Kyle, of not being back in 2023?
I think if they keep this up, yes. I think that's the last thing that George Paton wants to do is hire the guy he lauded. And like you said, it wasn't just George Paton who was after Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett was a hot name on the coaching circuit this offseason. And, we've seen what he's done in previous stops, including Jacksonville and obviously Green Bay as the OC there. But, man, Ryan, if he keeps up this pace, if the Broncos keep losing, I'd imagine he might be in some trouble and some hot water at the end of the year. I mean, they go and lose this game, come home from London 2-6, and they still got to play the Raiders and the Chargers and the Chiefs twice. Oh, by the way, KC's beat them 13 times in a row. So it's going to get really tough sledding here in the second half of the schedule and tough to pick up more wins with the way this offense is playing. I think just the alarming inconsistency and ineptitude of the offense, in addition to the fact that Nathaniel Hackett has been kind of out of his depths in terms of play calling and game management so far, that's surely all swirling in George Paton's mind. And if the Broncos limp into the offseason with 5-6 wins, I can bet you George Paton's going to take a hard look about if he needs to make a switch at his head coach. Now, defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero, boy, he's doing great. He's knocking it out of the park. I can't help but think that Vic Fangio is watching the games each Sunday and having a cigar saying, hey, see, look, there's my defense, and the offense has gone in reverse, and having himself a little chuckle.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, Fangio was out after last year there in Denver. All right, we're used to London. We go every year. Denver, that is not the case. How is this trip being viewed? And do you think the Broncos have any disadvantage because they don't go over there every year like Jacksonville?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a disadvantage for them. I mean, Jags, like you mentioned, they're used to it. This is kind of a special thing, right? I forget the exact time, but it's been a while since the Broncos have been overseas, especially to London to play a game. And coming off 4 straight losses, and with the trade deadline looming and just everything they're dealing with up to and including Russell Wilson's hamstring, no, it's not going to be like a fun trip for them, I don't think, in any sort of fashion at all. And they're at a disadvantage, like you said, just, they haven't really done this before. This was not a staple in their organization. So they really got to go and try to figure out how to manage all the distractions and jet lag and travel and somehow find a way to beat the Jaguars, who, as you know, it's not like they're exactly surging. So if the Broncos fall to Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, boy, this team could spiral much, much more quickly than we anticipated, especially with the trade deadline looming November 1st.
I got to tell you, Kyle, Jaguar fans had very little hope about this game until you came on the radio, and now I think we're all going to Vegas to put some greenbacks on the Jaguars. Look, we've lost 4 in a row as well. I mean, there are serious problems here. So both teams coming in with massive losing streaks. Something's got to give. Jacksonville's lost 4 games in a row by 8 points or less, so they're in every game. What do you think? Sunday in London, you follow the Broncos as closely as anybody. What do you think is going to happen over there?
Yeah, I'm picking the Jags, man. I mean, I was picking the Broncos early in the season before they kind of showed who they really are. I just don't think this is a very good football team. Now, I haven't watched the Jags that much, and I know they're not a very good football team, but I think that they're going to be better than the Broncos. I think Trevor Lawrence will have a couple moments against this Denver D that's been pretty dominant. PSA to Trevor Lawrence, I wouldn't throw Pat Surtain's way. Expect Trevor Lawrence to pick on rookie Damari Mathis, the other cornerback, quite a bit on Sunday. But I got no faith in this offense, Ryan. I mean, they haven't showed me anything. If they trot Rippon out there, I'm not enthused. If they trot Wilson out there, he's going to be hurting a little bit. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I got the Broncos offense faltering at the end. Jaguars coming up with let's go 17-13 victory in London.
Jaguars would take a 3-2 win at this point. That's how desperately
Broncos
they
would
need.
Take a 3-2 win.
Yeah, something's got to give. No question about that Sunday there in London. Kyle Newman of the Denver Post. Hey, Kyle, enjoyed the conversation, man. Thank you very much. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, appreciate it, man.
Are you tired of hearing that something you're looking for isn't available? Or worse, you have to wait a year to get it? Because we love our customers, we did something kind of big. Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet invested over $20 million in building the biggest, most diverse used car inventory just for you. We have hundreds, make that thousands of vehicles to choose from, all priced to sell. You'll only find that kind of selection at Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville or Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine. Don't make us come get you.
This is your Mad Dads Update with Chapter President Donald Ford.
Mad Dads is gearing up for our 14th annual motorcycle ride on September 24th. The ride is in support of victims that have died in a violent crime. The ride will begin at Harley-Davidson at I-95 in Bay Meadow, zigzag through the city where murders and shootings have occurred. It will end at Edgewood and London. We will go through Arlington to the east side, north side, Paxton, west side, Lackawanna, and end at Edgewood and Lenox. There will be a celebration at the end of the ride for families who have had a loved one die from a violent nature. The ride will begin at 11 a.m. We're asking everyone to stand out and give us a shout out. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think.
For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dads Jacksonville Chapter Facebook or MadDadsJacksonville.com.
Keeping your body healthy and active leads to a more vibrant life. A great place to do that is the First Coast YMCA. The Y is equipped with state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment, plus group exercise studios where trainers host activities like yoga, Zumba, and cycling sessions. The full-court basketball gym and indoor 5-lane swimming pool are open year-round. The Kid Zone can keep an eye on your kids while you work on that dad bod. And it's all available with your family membership. Learn more at fcymca.org.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's best sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the chance to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and much more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 800-79-BETUS and get into the action. Don't forget to mention promo code 1010XL. BetUS, where the game begins.
This Florida-Georgia moment is brought to you by Woody's Barbecue.
Murray across the middle.
Touchdown, Georgia.
Woody's Barbecue.
This is Woody Mills. A super game requires super barbecue. For over 40 years, we've been making the best barbecue in town. See you at Woody's Barbecue today.
Outdoor comfort can feel hard to come by once the summer season settles in. Luckily, here at Armor Guard Exteriors,
We offer retractable screens by Sinesta. Not only can these screens help you find shade, but they can also reduce glare, lessen the impact of wind, protect your patio furniture, and keep insects out of your space. Ready to learn more? Then call Armor Guard Exteriors today at 904-906-8669.
Hey Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Your time is valuable. Say goodbye to tire shops and waiting rooms. Go Mobile Tires is a mobile tire business that comes to where you live, work, or play. We match anyone's price on tires, and our trained technicians mount and balance tires, program TPMS sensors, and repair tires. We provide nitrogen for free. Check us out on the web at gomotires.com or call us at 904-907-0999. On the web at gomotires.com or 904-907-0999.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving? They can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Now,
hello.
Another great guest on the Farah and Farah phone line. Brought to you by the accident attorneys at Farah and Farah.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party this Saturday. The Florida Gators, the Georgia Bulldogs. Boy, Georgia comes in as a 3-touchdown favorite. Let's talk a little college football with a buddy of mine. I love talking college ball with Mike Huguenin. He's covered it for a long time. He's now with On3.com. Mike, how we doing?
Doing quite well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Mike, always appreciate the time, man. All right, so Florida and Georgia. Doesn't feel like a normal Florida-Georgia week. It feels like Hail Caesar for those about to be slaughtered if you're wearing orange and blue. And if you're the Dogs, it's interesting, Mike, with Tennessee next week, Armageddon in Athens. I mean, any chance Georgia might not be looking as much at Florida as maybe they usually do?
I think that's a legitimate school of thought, though I don't think they're going to overlook Florida. So I think that's the bad aspect for the Gators. This Georgia team's I think it's a 22-point favorite, and you can understand that spread. That's the largest in this game since 1995. Florida's defense is not very good. They don't cover the pass very well. They don't get pressure consistently, and their work against the run, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And if you look at what Georgia has done this year, Todd Monken has opened up the offense a little bit. They do a lot of different things than they did last year. They throw a lot to the back still. They throw a lot to the tight end still. And those two facets right there have to worry Florida coaches because Florida's linebackers are not good in coverage. So if you're asking them to cover Brock Bowers, that's not a good thing if you're a Gator fan.
Mike, you've watched a lot of Gator football. I go back to Nebraska, the national title game was at January of 96 with Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Frazier. And really since that point, I never thought I'd see a Gator defense manhandled for 2 to 3 quarters. And then the LSU game a couple of weeks ago. There was about a 6 or 7 series in a row there for LSU that Florida could not stop them at all. And it was almost reminiscent to me of that. It was some of the worst Gator defense, Mike, I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're not very good defensively. And, there's a reason that Florida has a new coach this year. Dan Mullen did not do a very good job of bringing in new talent. And I know a lot of Gator fans are like, well, these were 4-star recruits. Well, so what? They can't play. And I think if you've watched the Florida defense the last 3 seasons, you should have at least come to the realization that a lot of these guys just are not very good. Maybe they do one thing well but can't do this, this, and this. Or maybe they do that exceptionally well and do that okay, but my God, they're horrible at that. And that's the issue with this Florida defensive roster. There's a reason they're going to sign 7 defensive backs and 6 or 7 defensive linemen. Those 2 areas of the roster are basically devoid of talent. And, it's one thing to say, well, they were big-time recruits, but at some point you got to stop talking about the fact that they were big-time recruits and look at what they've actually done on the field. And what they've done on the field is you cannot sit there and look at what they've done on the field and say these are talented players.
Mike, it's been about a month since you and I talked. Again, Mike Huguenin on3.com. And I'm curious because what I'm hearing from some of my Gator buddies, some callers up here on 1010XL, is, all right, Nick Saban went 7-6 year 1 in Tuscaloosa. Kirby Smart 8-5 year 1 at Athens. They all get mulligans in year 1, right? Is Billy Napier along those lines? Should Gator fans be thinking, okay, because Kirby went 8-5, it's okay that we're going to lose, 4 or 5 games this year?
Well, I don't think you should. Who knows what kind of coach Napier is going to be? But I think there is, for the most part, if you're coaching in a Power 5 program, there's high expectations every single season, and it doesn't seem to fade when you're a first-year coach. Cristobal at Miami is getting a ton of heat as well. Again, not a talented roster at Miami. There's a reason that there's first-year coaches at Florida and Miami. The previous regime did not do well in terms of bringing in talent. And X's and O's only take you so far. You got to have the Jimmies and Joes as well. I think that, the idea that if you thought Florida and Miami were going to be 9-win teams this year, you were delusional. I think Florida certainly could have played better in certain games. The defense against USF was bad. The offense against Kentucky was horrendous. But these, Miami losing to Duke and to Middle Tennessee, in a normal season, no, that should not happen. But it did, and I think there are some reasons that did happen at UM, and the fact that Florida's got 3 losses here. But I think you cannot the expectations were, I think, outsized for both those guys because, oh, my God, they coach at schools in Florida. Look at all the talent available. You got to let those guys recruit. And Napier and Cristobal, to an extent, certainly look like they're going to be reeling in pretty darn good classes in 2023. But, again, I think the expectations were a bit outsized. Just because you're the coach at Florida, just because you're the coach at Miami, just because you're a fan of Miami and Florida, that doesn't mean you're going 9-3.
Mike Huguenin on 3.com. Mike, from the Georgia side of things, a defending national champion. Yeah, we hear a lot about Tennessee, right, and Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan, and it's probably because Georgia hasn't had the toughest schedule, but you see them on the SEC Network, you see them on ESPN at high noon. We're going to know a lot more about the Dogs here in the next couple of weeks, but a very under-the-radar defending national champion this late in the year.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're loving it because they're not under the microscope. I think they're internally under the microscope, but you're right, the national discussion, even though they're ranked number 1, has not been about them, even in the SEC. So in some respects, they are sort of flying a little bit under the radar. And you're right, other than the Oregon opener, and that victory every single week looks better and better. The only other team that they played with a winning record is South Carolina. And I don't think anybody really thinks South Carolina is all that good. I know South Carolina is 5-2, but let's get serious here. This is a talented Georgia team. Obviously, the talent level on defense is not as high as it was last year. They still got some dudes who can play. And the most impressive aspect to me has been the diversification of the offense. A lot of guys are involved on a weekly basis, and that's the impressive thing to me. 1 week it's Ladd McConkey, 1 week it's Brock Bowers. Another interesting aspect, no Georgia player has more than 2 receiving TDs. And that means that Stetson Bennett's spreading the ball around. Now, presumably the passing game is going to be more important as the last 5 weeks of the season, because I don't think you can be a team with – they have 11 TD passes. A team with 15 TD passes ain't winning the national title in this era. So I think the passing attack becomes more important. But this is an offense that on a weekly basis you watch Georgia play and you're like, wow, I haven't seen that play before. Or, wow, last week they ran that to McConkey. This week they're throwing it to Kearis Jackson. So you got to give Todd Monken credit. He's doing a really nice job with his offense this year.
We don't need to pick the game. I mean, Georgia's a 22-point favorite. It would be one of the biggest upsets in a long time if Florida were to win the game. But what type of game do you see, Mike? Can Florida keep this thing close in the second half?
I think it's all the thing about Florida, they beat Utah, which is a good squad. They were thrown into the end zone on the final play against Tennessee and Knoxville. So they have it in them. The question is the lack of consistency on both sides of the ball. The defense has been consistently bad for the most part all season. The offense has shown pockets of, oh my God, this is a really explosive offense, and then you're like, oh my goodness, this offense is garbage. So the consistency on offense, I think Napier is going to go into this game, and his coaching staff are going to go into this game sort of like they went into the Tennessee game. We're not going to be able to stop them, so we have to pull out all the stops on defense and be extra aggressive. The problem with that is, obviously, Georgia's defense is a heck of a lot better than Tennessee's. But Florida's offense needs to do some good things early to build confidence as a unit, and to build confidence specifically for Anthony Richardson, who I think lets bad plays sort of linger, and he gets in his own head and overthinks at times. But Florida, above all else, Florida has to be successful running the ball. They can't give up on the run. They got to keep running it. They need obviously a couple big plays. And you're right. And unless Georgia turns it over 8 times, they're not losing this game. But I think Florida has the potential at least to beat the spread. And in a lot of respects, that would be a moral victory for Florida. Granted, in the SEC, moral victories don't mean anything. But if Florida acquits itself and doesn't get embarrassed, that's a gigantic positive in a lot of regards.
Mike, let's end with Florida State and Miami. A quick thought on the Noles. They've lost 3 in a row. They just lost one of their biggest commitments to their arch rival, and Roderick Kearney flipped yesterday. They just need a win, right, on Saturday. A win would cure a lot right now for Florida State.
Yeah, and I think they're having a week off. They played 3 good teams in a row. For the most part, they were in all 3 games. Obviously, they had a really good chance to beat NC State and then let a backup quarterback beat them, that's going to, I think, gnaw at them for a while. But this is still an FSU team that, 9 wins is on the table. Certainly 8 wins, I think, is the expectation right now to finish at 8-4. As for Miami, I think you've given up hope on this season. I'm not sure Miami even gets to a bowl game. The recruiting class does have a lot of high caliber players in it, and the idea that they're all going to stick together seems to be likely. But again, Miami's the same kind of team as Florida. There's a lot of playing time available next season. I think the one aspect of Miami that's been the most disappointing is that the offensive line, granted they've had injuries, but given the emphasis that Cristobal and Alex Mirabal place on being really physical up front on offense, that is a horrendous offensive line. And I think if you're an FSU fan, you're thinking, our lines have been bad the last couple of years. Miami's is worse, and that's sort of where Miami is right now. Tyler Van Dyke is hurt. Who knows if he's going to come back this year. The offense, I would argue, was not necessarily built to his strength. The receiving core is extremely lackluster, especially with Restrepo hurt. But just like Florida, Miami's a team without a heck of a lot of talent, and it's showing this year big time.
Mike Huguenin, On3.com. Mike, 60 seconds to go. Final question. What Josh Heupel is doing in Knoxville, does that speed up the clock on a Cristobal, a Napier, a Marcus Freeman, a Brent Venables? I mean, is there going to be pressure because of what Heupel's accomplishing?
Yeah, and I think the Heupel, there's lightning has struck. I mean, the quarterback coach mind meld there is tremendous. So I would remind people that Heupel went out and got Joe Milton out of the transfer portal, and not until Milton got hurt did Hooker start to arrive on the scene. But, you know, Hooker is playing at an extremely high level. That offense is exceedingly fun to watch, and the scheme and formations, those are fun too. There's just so much room on the field, and his players are taking advantage.
We invite everybody to go to On3. That's the number 3, On3.com. Mike Huguenin of On3.com. Mike, thank you for the time. We appreciate it, my friend.
Always enjoy it, man. Thanks.
It's the one that stood out. Listen for the performance painting high performance play of the game.
Down the sideline, it's still going. Breaks a tackle and scores.
Performance painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
People often think if they don't have symptoms, they shouldn't get tested for colon cancer. If you're 45 or older, it's time to get checked. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. Protect your end zone. If you're over 45, ask your doctor about a colonoscopy. 45 is the new 50. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to helping the community and save lives. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Save on seasonal costs, avoid pricey repairs, and boost the performance of your furnace when you book a fall heating tune-up with Fenwick Home Services Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. For just $59, your service will be completed by the area's #1 home services team, and it's backed by the area's top worry-free, no breakdown guarantee. Call 904-660-0556 or book online at FenwickEasyBook.com.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hey, Hicken here for Zero Res. October is birthday month for Zero Res. Been 18 years since Zero Res has been in business. Holy cow, do they deserve something nice. To celebrate, just say, Happy Birthday Zero Res, and they'll give you up to $75 off your cleaning. That's right, $75 off carpet cleaning, tile and grout, upholstery, area rugs, or granite countertops. That's their birthday gift to you. Some minimums may apply, so give them a call. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of their tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Z Series mowers and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today, Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny, and bring home the Kubota L2501 tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 48 months, plus save up to $1,100. Now through December 31st. See Coastal Equipment or go to KubotaUSA.com for details.
This is Hayes Carlion for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat, find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The easy way to upgrade your home is new paint from Coastal Painting Services. From exterior to interior, including color guidance and design ideas. Read their reviews, then talk to Chelsea or Joe at CoastalPaintingServicesLLC.com, like I did.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent with help from Family Support Services of North Florida. You provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.